this a quick go. I've had quite a few models recently be asking me like for sort of tips, what they should be looking out for with other photographers, just general questions and that. So I thought I'd make a quick video and just sort of see how it goes. So I always say to models, like, if they're very new to modelling and they want sort of like inspiration guides, tips and stuff like that for posing and stuff, that sites like Pinterest are really good. You can get some really cool inspirations off there. You can get posing ideas and suggestions. There's variety for like different body types, heights, that kind of thing. So that's always a good way to sort of start. Also, when organising shoots with photographers and that, you can create like a private board on them, do like a mood board from it, pin posts to it for like locations, outfit ideas, inspirations, that kind of thing. It's just a really good way to make sure that you're both on the sort of same page, so that you're not turning up for shoots when one of you is expecting one thing and the other's expecting something else. I always suggest for like the actual posing side of things to do a bit of practicing in front of a mirror. Maybe also like propping up your phone, doing a bit of recording, just getting an idea of how you actually look, and sort of like angles and stuff like that. Most models have a preference to the side, or they refer to it as like the good side. I don't know, I think everyone's just got their own sort of preference, and you'll find that as you go along with it. I always suggest the models to ask photographers about how they work, how they shoot, how they deliver the photos, and then basically ask them sort of like, do they have a rough guideline on how many outfits they'd like to do, stuff like that. And also, I think it's quite imperative to ask where you're going to get changed and stuff. I mean, I'm quite fortunate that I have access to an office space that I work at. And I basically have 24/7 access to that, so it comes in quite handy, but obviously not everyone has that sort of benefit. So, I mean, there's places like restaurants and bars and stuff like that. Even some of these shops' changing rooms, you can be a little bit cheeky and pop in there and do an outfit change there. Another suggestion I generally tell models to do is to speak with other models that photographers work with, and just basically ask them like what they like to work with, their attitude, the sort of the mannerisms and that kind of thing, because obviously they can tell you exactly how they are, and it's like a good indication. I always suggest as well that the model to have a look through like their Instagram, and have a look at the sort of work they do, to sort of get an idea of the quality of the photos they provide and the sort of genres that they sort of shoot. Obviously, like some photographers do a lot of boudoir, some do just fashion, some do a lot higher extreme type of things. And I think like as a model, you're best off finding out what it is you're going to be expecting and the sort of, like I said, the type of work they do. Also, one thing I've noticed is the way photographers conduct themselves with like titles and stuff like that, and certain comments and stuff like that. That can be quite a big red flag, yeah. Especially if they're objectifying models, because at the end of the day, you're both there to sort of do a job, and you're both human. Like, but objectifying people is generally a red flag. I would also suggest that the models would agree with the photographer on how the photos are going to be used. Is it for like portfolio building? Is it like refreshing like your portfolio? Is it just going to be Instagram? Are they going to be published? Because not every model wants the stuff to be published. Some models just want like a nicer Instagram feed, that kind of thing. Some obviously want to really get into it and they want to get stuff published and get it out there. So I think that's a good thing to do, is to discuss that beforehand. Also, a lot of people do this collaboration type thing, and I think that's important to get agreed up front, so that like if you want one of your posts and have the other as a collaborator, I think that's one of the best ways to both of you grow. It expands the reach for the audience that it's going to get out to. So I think that, like I said, definitely need to get that agreed up front. Model release forms, if it's just for Instagram and that kind of thing, are generally not required. Verbal or written agreement generally suffices. I've never really had to use them. I always suggest for your first shoot with a photographer and that, bring a partner or a friend. I mean, like, don't be taking the mick. Just one person will suffice. It does come in quite handy. You've got someone to carry your equipment, someone to give a second pair of eyes. And then also, like I said, it just makes the shooting sometimes a lot more fun. Also, you can get the person you brought with you to do behind the scenes. Behind the scenes is quite a big thing at the moment. It just adds a different depth to the actual shoot. Like I said, you can have a bit of a laugh with it as well. I always suggest when meeting someone for the first time to meet in a public place. Coffee shops are generally a good choice. You can have a bit of a talk, build that rapport up a little bit before heading out to do your shoot. And that's more for like doing sort of locational type sort of shoots. Another thing I get asked a lot about the outfit side of things. I strongly suggest that the model picks outfits that they feel comfortable in. And then, like, if you are going to go down the route of, like, say, picking skirts and stuff like that, or dresses, wear shorts underneath if they're quite a short dress, or skirt, or like basically tights. It just covers your modesty, because sometimes you're going to get, like, you'll make a pose, or there'll be a certain angle, and obviously you don't want to be sort of, showing stuff you don't want to be showing. I always suggest as well about thinking about colours that complement your complexion and your hair colour. And a big thing I normally do as well is suggest for like nighttime sort of shoots is you want to pick something with a bit of colour or something like metallic or something like that. I think they work the best if you're shooting it in the dark. It just bounces the light a lot more, that kind of thing. I always say as well, don't get pressured into wearing something you're not comfortable in wearing when working with a photographer. Obviously, if you're sort of doing brand shoots and stuff like that, you're generally going to be discussing that before you turn up for the shoot. But if it's sort of like portfolio building, time for print, test shoots, that kind of thing, the more comfortable you feel, the better the pictures are going to look. Another thing as well, which is a bit of a pet hate for me, if you've agreed something or started engaging in a conversation to do a shoot, don't just ghost the photographer, yeah? If you've changed your mind or something's come up or whatnot, just let them know as soon as possible. It's just more professional. I mean, photographers will discuss and talk with other photographers, and like if you've like basically agreed to do something, ghosted or not turned up, or you just gone completely disappeared, it's not good. You're going to get a reputation. Just bear that in mind. Like I said, if you change your mind, you can just tell them. Like, at the end of the day, we are humans. What else? Yeah, punctuality. Like, plan your travel. If you're saying you're going to meet at 2, don't be turning up at 3, half 3, 4 o'clock. Like, make sure you've got adequate travel to adequate time to get there, and that you know where you're going to be meeting. Another big thing, set clear boundaries. Yeah, like don't be texting at like 3 o'clock in the morning about a shoot, unless obviously like you've changed your mind or you've been up throwing your guts or that kind of thing. But yeah, just be mindful, like I said, photographers as well as yourself. We're humans. We've got other parts of our lives to get on with as well. Another thing as well, whilst actually on the shoot, a photographer should not be touching you or your clothing, accessories, and they should be respecting your personal space. Yeah, they should maintain a good distance with you when sort of showing you pictures, when engaging conversations, that kind of thing. And also, they shouldn't be saying anything sexual or inappropriate to you about your features, appearance, or your outfit. Another one I generally say to people is have a separate account for like your Instagram for your modelling. You can link that up to like a Facebook page. It just basically splits it from your personal life and your sort of modelling life. And that way, like if you want to take a break, you just pause your account, you don't post to it, and obviously you keep your personal account to your personal self. Like, yeah, ideally don't mix the two. I mean, obviously at the beginning it's not too bad, but as you start getting into it, I would suggest strongly just sort of having the 2 different accounts. Another one, building and maintaining professional relationships with like the photographers, other models, agencies, that kind of thing, you're going to find that you'll click with certain photographers and models a lot more than you do with other ones. And then like you find people you work with really well, and you kind of want to keep that sort of relationship going with sort of shoots and stuff like that. Obviously, as you start doing modelling more and you're getting paid shoots and stuff like that, it's nice to sort of catch up, touch base sort of thing with these people you've built these relationships up with, and just have a bit of fun sort of shoots, do stuff that you wouldn't do on a paid shoot. You can trial out new poses and you just have a laugh. It's like a nice thing to sort of do. I always say as well, time for printing like collaborations and stuff can be really good for sort of like just refreshing your portfolio and, yeah, like I said, keeping that sort of relationship going with people you click with. One thing I've heard quite a lot about are these sort of like dodgy modelling agencies who are basically trying to like get money up front and then sort of promising the world to you that they're going to basically they've got access to all these contracts and they're going to guarantee your work, and that nothing's guaranteed. End of the day, like if you're doing like modelling and stuff like that, a particular brand or company or whatnot might be looking for a certain type of model, a certain sort of aesthetic, certain height, and that, like, it's luck of the draw a lot of the time. But like I said, just be very cautious of these modelling agencies who are trying to con you as such. Another one you really have to be careful with are these sort of studios like doing these like competitions or these cold calling type ones where they'll say you've won this competition or you've got like a portfolio shoot, and basically they're going to give you X amount of photos, and that what these tend to do is like you might get 3 or 4 photos and then they'll start charging the absolute earth for like these like big packages and stuff like that, and half the time they're not that great. They're extremely badly edited, and they use these sort of like forced sales tactics to sort of basically get you to part with your money. There's been a few people exposing on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that, so you can quite easily find out about these places by sort of Googling and stuff like that. But yeah, just be very careful, and if you do go to one, just don't let them pressure into you buying stuff at the beginning. Yeah, that's about it at the moment. If I do have anything else I can think of, I'll make a second video. Thank you very much for watching. Stop recording.